I'm going to go into the detailing of the hand a little further, where it's going to be the base of the hand instead of the ball, or instead of the fingers. So I'm just looking at the topology to just figure out where is the best area to start. And I'll just start on the palm. To just create the roundness of how the hand actually looks. Right now I do have a couple extra segments that should eventually disappear as I progress with this. What I mean by disappear is that only these 6 faces are the ones that we really need to worry about or address. The rest of them are just part of the hand itself. And it's just how we manipulate these vertices to make them blend so that it becomes one surface rather than a series of extrusions, which it currently is. So I'm gonna, as I'm looking at the hand, just trying to figure out where I can add in some edge loops for the purpose of adding the detail for the top of the knuckles as well as the bottom. This is where I'm going to probably, or I'm going to have to add in some cuts, and this is going to break my quad model right now. Up until this point, we just did extrusions, so everything is technically quadded. Now I need to add in extra geometry so that I can add those surfaces that are needed. One of the ways that I can try to avoid just doing random cuts is just doing an extrusion. So I'm just going to select those surfaces, and I'll extrude this. And the reason I said I'll try this is that I'm looking for ways to just keep it where I'm just using extrude tools rather than cutting, because once I get into cutting, it can be intimidating trying to figure out where everything goes. And I think that looks actually pretty good. Can actually average these vertices to just smooth that out a little bit. And it looks like a mess, but it's actually going to give me a lot of flexibility right now. Because for this side of the hand, I can pull this out. And when we look at the smooth version, I can really start to see where the knuckles are going to be located. And that's just important right now, because now I know where to modify the geometry. And that other edge down at the bottom can sort of be moved around to lock the knuckles into position. I'll just go to object mode and just quickly hopefully with just that simple extrusion, we have a little more depth to our knuckles, or to our hand. So we start to get some meatiness. To our hand. So again, looking at the low poly, it's pretty ugly. And again, I just want to make sure that we don't accidentally have triangles, which again, I shouldn't have any triangles, just double checking to make sure. And the geometry looks, again, if you like clean meshes, is that this isn't clean. Do you want it to look real? And that's something that we all have to fight with as far as, is it going to look, if it's going to look real, it's not going to be clean. We need erratic imperfections to our geometry because we're not perfect. So I'm looking to see if there's a way of running some other edge loops in here without increasing too much of my topology. So I'm going to do an insert edge loop. Let's see what that gives me. And that actually might be exactly what I need. And what I mean by that is I can go into 2 and go to vertex. And I'm going to just move these verts down around a little bit, and what I want to do is sort of invert them, meaning that every other one's going to go either be up or down, to change the surface appearance of the hand. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to go to the underside. And for the underside, we should have most of the geometry, so this deals with more of the webbing, where I can just take these verts that should be part of the in-betweens of the hand and move them down and around. And if I get a surface like this, I'm going to have to make some adjustments. Oh, and I see that I do have a slight issue there that I'm just going to fix. Just something that didn't weld correctly. So I'm just going to fix these couple welds. On the pinky. And it still looks like they're not completely correct. Alright, so everything looks fine now. And just like I was doing with the top part of the hand, is that I'm going to need to extrude this bottom section also. And this is just to give the palm area a little more meat. Just extrude that, pull that down, and scale that. Again, I can try to average the vertices here. And then turn on my smoothing. And this is where I'll want to just go in with my vertex subobject mode and just come in and move some of the verts inwards so that I again change the overall topology and we start to get that feeling of where the webbing is between the fingers. So as I'm adding the definition here to the underside of the hand, we can start to see the creasing. We can see some of the detail coming in for the hand. When I get to the ball, I really want to just, I need to add some separation here, but I also need to make sure that I have enough geometry. So I'm going to just try to select these 6 faces, and I'll extrude And then I'm going to select these four faces and extrude also. And make sure that I don't select the backside like I just did. Try this again, extrude. Go to my scale this down. Select these four faces, do an extrude. Scale this down. I'm just going to expand my selection. And again, I'll just average these verts. And right now it looks a little awkward, so I might have just undo. Just keep it at that and expand that, and then do a average. Alright, that looks pretty good. I mean, I have the geometry now that I need. It's just manipulating the vertices to fit the shape. And what I'm trying to do is create the area that's going to be the creasing on the actual palm of the hand. So just like we had done with the fingers, I'm going to select these faces and I'll do an extrusion. Go to local, scale them down a bit. I'll just do an expand selection and try to average those vertices. And I grabbed a face I shouldn't have. Alright, so at some point I grabbed this face here, so I'm just going to have to select it, delete it, and I'll have to do the append poly. So let's go back to this, extrude. And I'm just going to extrude this again using local. And right now it's a little over the top. And I mean, all I have to do to adjust it is just move some of the vertices, and as I move them apart, it will create that smoothness. Also, as I change the depth, from the extrusion, that will also help as far as the hard creasing that's currently there. And I mean, this is just repetition. I mean, it's just manipulating vertices so that I get the smoothness that I need for the hand itself. So parts of it are looking pretty good as I move these around. So, I mean, that's really the goal here, is to make it not look so hideous that when I do the initial extrusions, it looks really bad. Alright, so I'm just gonna close this up now and just bridge that. Alright, it's up to 0, and then just make sure that my edges are merged. And they don't appear. There we go. So I just selected them, use G to repeat last. And we can start to see the creasing come in, and this is starting to look a lot better as far as the hand goes. And it looks like I have some double faces here on this back side of the hand, so I'm just going to select all these vertices and do an average. And I'm going to grab some of this and just try to average that. The reason for averaging that I'm using it on the creases is just so that they're not so harsh. Right now I think that they're a little too harsh. So I'm just going to actually adjust smoothing them out to like 2. I want to go object mode. That looks a lot better. My hand is a little deformed now. But I know I can fix that. relatively quickly. So now I'm just going to delete history by type. I've already frozen transformation, and I'll just take a look at my model. I mean, I have the creasing here. That needs a little reworking, but overall I start to have the hand show up. I might want to add some creasing here to the skin and just give the thumb a little more structure, because it feels not as detailed right now, or not as structured as the rest of the fingers or the rest of the hand. So I'm just going to select those faces, and I'll do an extrusion in my local axis to pull this out. And I'll end up averaging these a few times. And the idea is to get that webbing that's inside the hand. It's a little too far, so I'm going to have to just smooth this out a little bit. And I'm just selecting those verts there so that I can average these and get more of that smoothness or the transition into the hand. So this looks starting to look better. I definitely want to add in some edge loops here on the thumb so that I can get the details in there. So I'm just going to go and insert my edge loops. avoid those edge loops and do an extrusion. So I'm just going to expand that selection and do an average. And if you like the soft selection tool, you probably use soft selection in a situation like this. I personally don't trust the soft selection tool enough to get the result that I want. But it's really up to the artist on what tools they feel comfortable with. Like I mentioned earlier, is that it's all about the end result, not the path that you took. And then, is that model usable by other people if you have to pass it off? So I'm just looking at the tips or the corners of here, of the thumb here, and it looks too fat. It's too hard edge, so I'm just going to make some adjustments, try to soften the transitions so that they don't look so hard. And then I just want to come into the inside of the finger so that I can make the crease there. The geometry should already be there, so it's just creating the crease. Alright, so, I mean, that basically does it. The only thing that I might also do is that my hand is, right now, really rigid, so I'm just going to throw on a deformer on it. So I'm going to go to create deformers, nonlinear deformer. And I try to use a bend. So I have my bend deformer here, and I'll turn on my curvature. And we can see that the angle is a little off. And the idea behind the bend deformer is just try to create some more natural motion or movement on the hand so that it's in a more relaxed position. Alright, that's pretty good. And then just to apply this, I'll delete type by history, and then I'm going to do this again. So do a bend, and set it to 90. And this is just to give the hand a little curve, so it's not so flat. And just so that I don't affect the thumb, I just turned off the low bound. So you can really try to work this a little bit, so I get more of the natural position. This is stretching the model a little bit, so I might have to do one more thing to just tighten it back up. I mean, as far as going into the top view, I'm just trying to slide the fingers over, slide the different areas closer together. This area here is really bothering me, so I'm just going to pull this in. Alright, so it looks a little better. So basically this gives us our hand, and I mean, we can take this as one of our models, and I mean, if you make a good hand, you can do a lot of things with it as far as being able to recycle assets. You might have to do it a couple times before you get that hand, and I say that hand is the hand that you're just like, this is, I spent so much time working on it, and it's really detailed. But occasionally you have to go through multiple hands to really get to that result, just because it's practice. I mean, I've done probably hundreds of hands, and I haven't found that hand yet. I just keep on doing it, try different ways, and just try to get the overall flow down. And every time I get closer, do they look good? Yeah, it just matters the amount of detail that I want. Is that, are we going to be able to see this up close, or is this just something that's on a dupe? If we're going to see it up close, I mean, of course, all the articulation and the details are essential. If it's far away, yeah, we probably don't need this much detail, but we have this process now.